Roxanne time.
Okay, well, I agree. I'm all for it. I'll make a motion.
Okay, on that note, we'll call the meeting to order, and we'd like to begin with the pledge of allegiance. If you please rise, join me. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And roll has been taken?
Yes.
Okay. So first up is approval of the minutes of the March 12, 2019 regular meeting. Any, Councilman Klein?
Move approval.
Support.
We have motion and support. Is there any comments or questions? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Moving on to hearings. First up, public hearing to review and consider submission of a Michigan Department of Natural Resources, Natural Resources Trust Grant application for the replacement and rehab of park restrooms located in Wright, Riverside, and Pine River / Conservation Park. So, Eric, it looks like you're taking away here.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the public hearing part. We talked about this a couple meetings ago. So this is the official public hearing.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
we'll-
Move we open the public hearing.
Support.
Motion support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Go, Eric.
All right. Now,
Now you're official.
that's official, that's right. And this is the official part that we have to do to apply for the grant. It is due on April 1st, but we've been through this a couple times, but this is the right part bathroom as that's today. We'll discuss a little bit later on. We discussed what we could do maybe in the meantime between the awarding of this grant and what we can do in the meantime of this, but we'll talk about that later. This is obviously our first priority of the restrooms within our park system. It's in Wright Park. It currently has two working toilets in the men's room and one working urinal, one sink. The women's restroom, I guess, is down to one toilet right now and one sink. So it's not getting better with age. What we'd like to do with this is replace the building itself. It would resemble what we have on Charles Avenue next to the rail trail, and it would provide 4 universally designed bathrooms. It would be single occupancy, so we go in, you lock it, you have privacy with your family to change diapers, all those sorts of things. The cost on the total rebuild would be $10,000 on this. This is an aerial of the utilities in the park there. The red line represents the electrical power. Obviously, we would be changing up the boxes and upgrading that system at the same time. It goes over Tracy Band and then down to the Hicks shelter. This spring, obviously, we have the new playscape. Hopefully the weather holds out for us and dries up so we can get the walking path in. And Bill Compton from CNR will be coming in to put in the lighting. So hopefully we get all that all done before festival this year. The water line is this blue line here, so what we would be doing is bringing the new structure down in this area somewhere. We haven't pinpointed that exactly, but we still have time to work on that part of it. Long term, this is that gravel parking area. Eventually, it will be similar to this, where we have a paved parking area and connectors from that parking area to the Hicks and to the new bathroom for handicap accessibility. This is kind of just an outline that we have used inside of our grant application, so we don't have to pay for it, because this has been paid for once, to give the state of Michigan an idea of what we're looking at for the bathroom. This is that universal design that's over at Charles Avenue. It's a two-stall setup, and that's a picture of the facility over there. It's been working well for us. Like I mentioned before, there's hand dryers. We do provide toilet paper there, and it's been working. The cost for that, when that was built just for the structure itself, was $90,000. So that's what we added a little bit to the new one, just to kind of bump it up a little bit. And obviously this particular bathroom, parking lot, and sidewalk was paid for with the Senator Khan appropriation at that time. This is our bathroom that is jointly used by Conservation Park and Pine River Park. actually probably even those folks that come over and use, visit the Riverside Cemetery. It's all right in that general area. This is our second priority because it is such a big area and has so many different facilities there. Currently, we have 2 men's toilets working, 2 sinks. Women's, we have four toilets that work and 2 sinks. The roof and the brick will be funded out of our wastewater fund because this door over here is a lift station, so that will help us pay and offset some of our costs we have to ask from the state of Michigan. What we're going to put in here is 5 universally designed bathrooms. We think we could do it for around $50,000. And this is what the current setup in there. You can see the stalls coming in. They're not actually that great for handicap accessibility either, really. This is what it would look like in the new configuration. This is where you park right now. You would get 3 bays there, single occupancy, universal design, and then you bring around a sidewalk to enter from the Pine River side of the building with 2 more units.
Eric, do each of these have a changing table in them? correct?
Yes, they'll have a change table, yeah. Yep. Hopefully, they stay together.
Yeah.
But we're gonna put them in initially because that does help us with our scoring for use by families. This is our third priority. This is Riverside Park's bathroom. This was rehabbed. This building structure here, we think, was built in the 70s at some point. It's a concrete block building. It's in really good shape structurally. In the early 90s, late 80s, this roof was added to it, and the color scheme was put in at that point. What we're looking, well, right now there's 1 working toilet, 1 urinal, 1 sink in the men's room, and then 1 toilet, 1 sink in the female side. What we would do is just completely change those into 2 single occupancy, universal design. The rehab on that would be $45,000 for that one there. And it does get used quite a bit. This is our stop for the Dalmac that's coming from Lansing to Mackinac. We see about, usually between 2 days, about 1,200 people that stop in and use the restroom there. So we provide free snacks and stuff and put out a tip jar for the rail trail. But lots of good PR from that, and then we send people downtown to eat. This is kind of the configuration for the 2 single occupancies. Obviously, wide open for that, and it'll be the changing room in there. We will be adding, we get this drinking fountain that sits over here. Right now it doesn't work, so it'll be part of getting that thing running also.
Are all of these gonna have the electrically controlled doors?
Yes, we are gonna, yes, we are. We had some hiccups for some reason this year. We had the door furthest to the west on that Charles Avenue. The one on the east side would work just fine, but it would catch. We don't know, it'd be no rhyme or reason why it would do that. They would work fine for a few weeks, but if we can get them all to work and work properly, we don't have to bring in staff to close the parks at night, which we have to pay an X amount of hours to bring them in. So just having them locking is important. So those will be part of the rebuild. We missed the grant last time. So the Parks Committee, we went through the point system and see what we could do to add some points to our application this time around. And there's about 3 locations where we could see we could find some points. One was in renovation, and we need to document as best we can when these buildings were built. Like I said, even Riverside Park, I can't find anything specifically. I can find when we renovated it in the 90s, like 91, 89, 90. But I can't find anything when it was originally built. So we'll just have to do our best to document what we can find in our records to do that. We can get 20 points there. Environmentally friendly features, I did add $6,000 to the budget this year for that, which is basically some perennial plantings around the restroom areas and providing some LED lighting on the outside. Providing some marketing plans for the universal inside bathrooms. We're going to be we've talked about developing some brochures to be sending out to the Commission on Aging, the preschools, to the elementary schools, just to let people know that these bathrooms, the way they're designed, they're family friendly, handicap friendly. You're able to, if you have caretakers, able to get somebody with a wheelchair in there, and the caretaker can be in there with them to help them. With those items there, and what I'm kind of recommending, we did 35% last year. By increasing our match to another 5%, to 40%, that gives us 10 more points. So that 70 points would get us in the top 30 projects in the whole state of Michigan. So based on last year's stuff, looking at that, that would have got us there. The only other place we could get some extra money or extra points would be to add some more money to this, which, you know, taking up to 50%. But I did check into that. What we could do in the meantime is if you want to do this, you go to 30, down to 30, which would, we wouldn't get the extra 10 points, but it goes from 30 to 39%, so you could drop it down to the 30% match. The 40% match gives you the extra 10 points that you probably need. The 50%, well, we could look at that in August when they give us our preliminary scores, and if we're close in there, we could come back and say, well, that's the only place we can get an extra 10 points. We could bump the percentage match up to 50%, and we could do that with a resolution from this board to say that we would commit those dollars. So we wouldn't have to do that right now. We could just go with the 40%, or if you want to, the 30%, but we wouldn't get those 10 points. So like I said, if we went with all those, that gets us in the top 30 what was last year. This is kind of the numbers that we're looking at. The total this year, adding that 6,000 in, was 301,000. Engineering, you have to use a MDNR approved engineer. In the past, we've used Rowe. 15% is the rate that is usually given for their design and oversight of the project. And that would be another 45,150. So the total cost of the project with engineering and the actual capital is 346,150. And like I said, here are those matches that we talked about. The first option, you know, we could go that 40%. That is $138,460 that would come from us, and $207,000, $207,690 from the state of Michigan. And if we did come back and say August, and we were real close, we could jump up that 50% match, but then our cost would go up to $173,075, and then vice versa for the DNR. But if we did bump that to 50%, based on last year's projects, that would put us in the top 17 projects in the state of Michigan. So that would definitely be in for sure. But we can look at that in August if we want to. And it's all due on April 1st.
Questions for Eric?
Thanks for your work on it.
Well, the committee, that's the other thing I want to talk about. For in between, obviously, this one, if we did get approval for this, we wouldn't be able to start construction at the very earliest until fall 2020. By the time all the paperwork gets together and everything else. So in the meantime, some of the things we discussed that we could probably do in the meantime, I know there would be some volunteers that would help from the KDB and such to get some paint, rip out some of those toilets and things that we don't need, get it down to a single occupancy each one, so they can lock, so you have some privacy. I haven't talked to Bob yet about what lighting things we could do in there, because if you go in there, it's pretty dark. So what things could we do in the meantime to lighten it up in there? Maybe paint the outside a little bit. But for the handicap accessibility portion, we could rent a handicap accessible porta-john. Would be for the season, would probably run us about $700 to $800 for the season to have one on site, just to make sure there's something there for somebody. But also to provide a banner on the outside of the building, just so people basically will state what we're doing, what we're applying for, just to let people know where we're at. We're trying to do some things. In the meantime, we've tried to make this accommodation, cleaning up a little bit.
What you kind of described to us there as far as the process goes in the state of Michigan, you know, jumping from, you know, backing off to 30 versus the 40, then eventually going to 50. Are we allowed to go, if we back it down to 30 now, are we allowed to jump to 50, or is there a certain amount of jump that you're allowed?
You could jump to 50, yeah, or you could jump to 40.
Because it seems like, you know, if this is a game that people are playing, and we barely missed out last time, you know, it seems like if we jump down to 30 now, and then even do a bigger leap in the fall after everybody's looking at theirs and thinking maybe if they go to 40 they'll get their next jump or whatever, and we leapfrog, or an opportunity at least, and then it's just a psychological game, and you know, when you review those things, that you get to the point points, you get your initial score and review them. It would give us a bigger bump at that time, and perhaps that would allow us to kind of
It could, yeah, it could work. I mean,
duck and fade around
because
somebody else.
Yeah, because last year we put in 35%, and that doesn't help us because it's 30 to 39
Yeah, so-
at that point, so we got those points anyway.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, then when we come back in August, we could come, you know, if we're looking like we're gonna be a little short, we could judge, do we go 40 to 50
I
at
would-
that point?
be inclined to think that would, you know, a better way to play the game, if it's,
But the only thing is, if you do the 40, you might not have to do the 50.
but you're not gonna know that. I mean, it's a crapshoot either way. You're not gonna know it until it's too late.
But it's a chance of saving about $30-some thousand.
Is going in at 30 gonna hurt us in the first round selection?
Well, it's just a preliminary score that they give us in
Okay,
August.
but that doesn't,
Um,
there's no judgment based.
Basically what we get for it is what we got last year, which was we got 10 points out of that.
Okay.
If we go to the 40%, we get 20,
Mhm.
and 50% gives us 30 points. That's the max you can get out of that particular.
Well, we have the option in August to make,
Yeah.
and you're not held
Yeah.
responsible for back when you
Okay.
started, you
Yeah.
can still make those
Basically, like
adjustments in August.
this is the score sheet in front of us underneath, applicant.
You just can't start out at 50, get the spot, and then.
No, no.
I know, just checking, but I figured, but I'm
Yeah.
just curious why we didn't bump it up last August then, to try to get the points. Just bad timing?
It's just, we didn't have a feel for where we were gonna fall within that, and we didn't know where we fell within the ranks of the other ones until the very end.
Oh, okay.
And we won't know this fall either, will we?
Not,
After
no,
it's-
but just kind of, we have a feel now for what last year's projects were, so there's a maximum amount that people can ask for, so we can kind of gauge, because those are some big projects, some big communities last time here. Let's see here. Yeah, only to match that is documented and secured is used in the score of this, criterion. So if we came back in August and redid a resolution stating that.
So when we see our points in August though, is there a list that you see everybody's points?
No,
No, so that's all confidential now.
yep. Basically, you get this little
So
score
it's
sheet.
not so much of a game as what I was thinking.
No.
I was thinking we saw the list of everybody.
No, at the
And
score
we're playing
sheet, this is the
games.
score sheet you get in August, and then you get that, of course, again at the end.
So I would think that we would wanna go in at 40, so that gives
But this
us extra
is-
points in the beginning.
Yeah, this is
And
the
then if
list
we
they
have
give
to
you
bump
at
it
the end
up to 50.
afterwards. This is the list they give you at the
Yeah.
But they don't give you that in August, to kind of give you a feel for
So you don't know where you're sitting even
Yeah.
still, so.
Yeah. But there's that option, like I said, in August to up our amount of commitment.
And I guess as it stands right now, I'd be inclined to do that to make sure we get it.
Yep, 40.
The 50 even, I would be in favor of. I mean, we need this.
We absolutely do.
We do.
Yeah, that's fine, it's whatever you guys feel is appropriate, and like I said, we do have, the Herb Luth Foundation. And plus, obviously, as more we don't touch it like this, it won't be, needed until we need to get reimbursements. So that'll be until fall 2020 at least, so there's another year of, gaining interest money.
And the other question that came to mind, you talked about the parking, that, we paved the one side of, the east side of the park. There's no way to include the paving on this grant as well, is there?
This is a tough one, the bathrooms are not like a high priority type thing on this. Putting the parking lots in there, I don't know if that would really help right at this moment because of the
To
extra
have a
dollars that
handicap
come in there.
accessible parking lot, I would think that would be.
Well, if you did it by itself, it would be going higher into by itself and higher in, because it's just handicap accessibility. Because we did that a few years ago when we did all the parking lots
Okay.
around, but we didn't ask for that much either. I think the grant request was for $160,000 or something for the parking lots.
But attached with the bathroom would knock it down, is what you're saying.
It's hard to tell.
But that's
It's-
what your experience is.
Well, it's, I don't know how much more money that would cost, and there's a maximum amount that we can ask for.
What's our max, is it 250 or?
The maximum amount, grant amount is $300,000, so you could ask probably for $600,000 on a project if you're asking for $300,000, 50%. But, you know, based on, you know, number of people in your community, per capita costs for that project. And that's what's great about the county, they can, when they go after grants for the state of Michigan, one of the things that's helpful for them is they use the full county population to help bring those per capita costs down. That's one advantage of being a larger organization.
So if we, I mean, just thinking outside the box here, if we had a, say, a countywide park system that we could include on the application,
I get you, I get you.
No, it's helpful.
just thinking that, you know,
I heard
I mean,
that.
because truly, we do serve more beyond, I mean, a lot of people
Not
just
just-
townships.
You don't have to be a citizen of the city of Alma to use our
No,
parks.
lots of
that's
people
for sure.
couldn't drive into town to use the parks.
And they used to give you some consideration with support, you know, letters from, say, the county
Yeah.
and from your neighboring townships. They don't count those anymore. They're saying, yeah, everybody's just writing those
Everybody-
anyway, so.
Yeah, we'll all support each other, won't we?
Yeah, but on the flip side though, when we sign our grant agreements, we're making commitments that we will allow our neighbors to come in and use the parks, no matter who they are. So we have to make that commitment too, so. But we don't get to count them.
I'm
We
sure
don't get
it
to count
costs us
them
much
in our
more to
park.
keep them out than it is to-
Well, we just can't get the money, but then we can't count them, that's what's so, you
Yeah.
know, kind of weird about it.
So you said restrooms are not a high priority for this. I mean, do you know what, I mean, is there a prioritization list that, are there other projects that maybe would be?
Their biggest thing is access, to water, that's their number one, and then.
Well, I think all these buildings will have water, won't they?
Yeah. They're near water, we put that in the application.
With drinking fountain and all of
Yeah,
them?
we did put that in the application, that they're providing, not necessarily the access itself, but they're supporting the access that we've built over the years, the River Walk, you know, the connecting the rail trail into the Riverside Park with the bridge and things like that. So we wrote that into the grant, but they were kind of like, well, it's still not providing.
It's a bit of a stretch, isn't it?
Yeah, they're saying it's not providing direct access to water. So, these are support, and they do allow us to apply for them, they're right there, they told, you know, say, hey, please apply for them. But if there's some other projects that come in from the state that provide those, you know, couple tiers above you, then they might get knocked down a little bit. But that's why it's, you know, the match is important when it comes down to that.
All right, any more questions or comments?
I'm just thinking, that's what's tricky about these grants, because you'll have a whole new set of grant reviewers this year from last year, and so they're gonna score it differently, even though, because we wrote a grant very similar, but it took us 3 tries, it was the Drug Free Community Grant, and it was very similar where we took our last score and we thought, okay, we just need to beat that last score, but then we had a whole new set of reviewers with different priorities and different way of looking at it.
Yeah.
So even though we beat our score, we still didn't, you know, so it's kind of a crapshoot, and I personally would keep it at the 40% match, and then see how you're scoring. And if you're not scoring much higher, then maybe bump it to the 50. But I wouldn't go in at 50. Just, I mean, you could, I guess, but I would wait, because you may score really high at that 40, because there might not be that many that are reaching their priorities that they're hoping to. You know, I don't know.
Nope, that's why I
It's
kicked
kind
out,
of-
my recommendation was 40, and
That's what I
we
would
can come back at
do.
50, but that's up to this board, that's.
Yeah, I'm
Because I
fine
agree
with
with-
40 now, but
Yeah.
I'm saying,
I'm looking
I'm
to
still
August,
looking forward
yeah.
to,
Mhm.
because you don't know what relative where you're gonna be, even
Mhm.
whatever number we have, it's gonna be our score, and
Yeah.
we don't know
You don't
relatively where
compare
we
it to what
fall.
you know.
And that's exactly,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
No, I know, and it's about almost $40,000 difference between the 40% and the 50%. And I know I'd rather
but
get
it's
it
still,
done.
it's still a $200,000 grant,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
we don't
yeah.
have to come up with a 200
Exactly.
grand, so.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So, but that was my recommendation with you at 40, and then try to bump it there. But that's the board's decision. If they decide to shoot for 50 right at the start, that's fine also too. So we'll just plan accordingly, and our resolution tonight will state that. So
Okay. So is there public comment to this?
yes, there is.
I haven't heard much from the
Well,
public.
they can ask me. I'll be
Anyone
here
from
to
the
ask her.
public have any questions or comments
No
before we close the hearing? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Support.
A motion support, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, the hearing is closed. Next up, Adopt a resolution for the support of the submission of a Michigan DNR grant from the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Grant application for the replacement and rehab of park restrooms located in Wright, Riverside, and Pine/Conservation Park. And I presume in this we want to designate the 40%?
If that's what you're.
Was that written in here, or was it written at 35 still?
I don't know.
Kind of, yeah, we left it.
We leave it blank, okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to go 40.
Okay, so we have motion and support. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Moving to the consent agenda, commissioners may approve the following items by one resolution, or any commissioner may remove any particular item within the section for individual discussion and vote. I have two items this evening. First one is a request to ratify the payment amount of $234,262.04 to the Bank of New York Mellon for the principal and interest due on the Michigan Finance Authority SRF and SWQF loans. The second item is request for payment amount of $108,086.25 to U.S. Bank for the principal and interest due on the wastewater capital improvement bonds 2011, general obligation bond 2006, and the special assessment bond 2006 from 5/1/18 to 11/30/18. Recommendation is for approval of both items. What is your pleasure?
Move approval.
Okay, we have a motion support. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Moving to resolutions. First up, we have consideration of a resolution of support for the Transportation Economic Development Fund, Category B grant application for the reconstruction of Hayes Avenue from Marquette Street to Michigan Avenue, and to include new water and sanitary sewer mains and the installation of storm sewer upgrades. The estimated total cost of the project is $256,000 with a financial obligation amount of $128,000 as the 50% match. The proposed project start date is July 2019. Your pleasure.
How long's the project gonna take, did they think?
Let's get a motion first.
Okay.
I get confused if you do it out of order. Sorry.
Sorry. Move approval.
Thank you.
There you go.
Support.
Motion and support. Now questions, please, Michelle.
How long for Hayes for the construction you're asking?
Yeah.
From start, I would guess probably 2 to maybe 3 months, somewhere in that range.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else have questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Second item is consideration of a resolution of support for a Transportation Economic Development Fund grant, Category B grant application for the reconstruction of Iowa Street from Charles Avenue to Falkirk Street to include new water and sanitary mains and the installation of storm sewer upgrades. The estimated total cost of the project is $485,000 with a financial obligation amount of $242,500 as the 50% match. The proposed project start date is July 2020. So your pleasure on this one.
Move approval.
Support.
Have motion, support, comments, questions? Nobody wants to stump Dave?
It's not hard.
Okay, hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Moving down to item J, reports. The city commissioners may receive the following reports by one resolution, or a commissioner may remove any item within the section for individual discussion, but there's only one, so. And it is an Elmo Parks and Recreation meeting minutes of February 13th, 2019.
Move to receive.
Support.
Have motion, support. Anybody have any questions about the park meeting? Certainly our thanks go out to everyone involved in the Parks Board and everybody that does the work to get this thing to here. All right, we have motion, support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That is carried. Appointments. We'd like to consideration of the appointment of Samantha, is it Sullins? Suhada, thank you. Bailed me out, I appreciate that. To the Elmo Parks and Recreation Committee, and consideration of the appointment of John Hull to the Elmo Zoning Board of Appeals as an alternate. I guess we need this probably separately, don't we? Or can we do it in a single motion? Okay. So, whatever your pleasure is, I guess. Sheila will let us do it either way. Everybody?
Move approval.
So we had a motion, did we get support?
Right.
We have support, okay. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, those in favor? Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried and we've appointed the two. Thank you very much for the volunteers, we do appreciate that. Okay, and appropriations. Anybody care to make a motion to approve the appropriations?
Sure. That's a motion.
Sounds enthusiastic, I like that. Did we get support?
Support.
Thank you, okay, we're gonna get this thing done now. Any comments or questions on the appropriations? Matt spending all the money?
Not coming from me.
It's not coming from Matt, okay.
I do see it though.
Oh, okay. Hopefully not all of it.
One of the lines
Not
though, I
every dollar.
told Sheila just before we started, I said, Rod Sutton, 24, it wasn't Rod. He was the line up. I thought, what are we paying Rod that much? The lines get a little tight there, and I had to get a thing down to look, so.
I did the same thing. It didn't line up.
Yeah, that's what I had to, you had to look at it and go, what is that?
Not that line item, but the lineup of them.
Yeah.
So that being said, we had a motion, correct? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Commissioner comments? Well, I guess we didn't get our report yet, did we?
Okay, would you like me to do
Yes.
Is it my
Roxanne,
comment or my
please
report?
enlighten us.
The finance subcommittee that consists of Matt, Greg, Nick, and I have met multiple times. And based on, we are not asking for a vote tonight, but we're bringing this up and hoping to vote at the next meeting in a couple weeks on a contract with ProNexus. Based on our audit results and recommendations from Yo and Yo, who is affiliated with ProNexus, as well as positive input from the county who recently utilized their services. We have posed the charges to ProNexus that they would bring in their personnel as an acting CFO to evaluate our procedures, organize and set up financial processes based on best practices to put efficient systems in place in our finance department. Anything else?
No, just, I think it's, basically stepping in, we've lost our treasurer, we've gone through a couple of them in the last several months, so, this is just to help us get back organized, get everything back on track, and get a system set up for, a new hire down the road.
Do we have dollars and cents before we?
Yeah, we'll get more of a breakdown as to where we're at. And that's what really I was asking tonight, if you guys are good with that, then we can get with them more specific and ask them what we're looking at.
They'll have to identify the individual that's,
Yeah, that's coming.
that they match with our needs and, decide what level I get compensated at, I'm sure. So. Any other comments for, questions for Roxanne and those of us that sat on the committee? Okay, hearing none. Now do you have commissioner comments to add, Roxanne?
I do
Anything in
not.
addition
Thank
to
you.
that?
I'm good.
Okay. Well, thank you for the report and your work on the committee. Mr. Mott,
Nothing.
that was quick. Roger?
Nothing either, but thank you for the work on that, Roxanne, appreciate that.
New wardrobe or something come into the Strand today, or?
Oh, no, we got stuff from, we went to Grand Rapids, to the Grand Rapids Civic Theater, who did Mary Poppins recently. And rather than reinventing a lot of wheels, we got some props and some costumes and stuff from them, brought them back today. I got all the way back into Elm until I got the phone call that we had missed one of the totes of props. But in our defense, we did not miss it, it was not there when we, they missed putting one out, but.
So another trip, another trip.
Very possibly, very possibly.
Looking forward to another good production down at the Strand.
I'm thinking so.
Good,
I'm thinking
glad
so.
to hear that. Okay, Audra?
I just wanted to share April is Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Awareness Month. So you'll see pinwheel gardens all over the city of Alma and through the county. The pinwheel is the national symbol for child abuse prevention. There'll be even a pinwheel garden here at City Hall. I think maybe they're planning that Monday, but don't quote me on the date. But it's just kind of a neat thing, and it's really grown in the community. So when you see those pinwheels through the month of April, just know that that's what that's for. And there'll be some different activities and things going on, but I thought it'd be nice to share that.
Audra, would there be a place where individuals like myself could get several pinwheels to put in my front lawn and stuff like that?
Yes, if you just contact our office, or I
Okay.
can.
I think
let
that'd be
them-
neat if we
Yeah,
had those
yeah.
literally all over the city.
Be really neat, yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. And we have it's called Blue Mondays, So we ask that people wear blue on Mondays, for the 4 Mondays in April, and there's 5. Is there 4 Mondays in April? There's 4 or 5, I should have looked, but to wear blue, and then, you know, if you wanna share pictures, we'll put them on our Facebook page, or just wear blue, just as in support, so. Michelle had to go out and buy some blue last year, she didn't own any blue, I'm like, how do you not own blue? I wear blue every single day the whole month of April.
There are 5.
Yeah, 5 Mondays, okay, yeah, so there'll be 5 blue Mondays, but it's just a neat way to bring awareness to a big issue in this community and in every community and around the state and the nation, so.
Okay. Thank you. Michelle?
Spring is coming, so the city of Alma needs volunteers for cleanup. Keep Alma Beautiful is April, May 18th, sorry. I was trying to read it down. To May, and then also,
Good head start.
yeah, and also the volunteer program here, you can stop and pick up an application at City Hall and get on the list to volunteer from anything from finance to I'm bringing my dad in for asphalt to help you, Dave, he can help you, to volunteering or painting, anybody can come in and we can keep them busy for this summer.
So
Volunteering
we have a
around,
list of projects ready?
we do, so.
Stories.
Yeah,
You
Justin
can just
is,
bring in people?
Justin is
There's
getting.
no liability for asphalt and Dave.
No, like, I mean, like, I'm not actually putting asphalt as recommendations.
Need somebody to
Yeah,
get
we
a
auction
sewer in
that
there?
off. Asphalt and Dave.
Well, we'll see how that works, we'll get some comp claims.
That's what I was.
Justin's been working really hard on putting some of these together, so.
We're offering
yes.
return.
My dad was in sales of asphalt, so he knows how to measure and that type of thing.
Okay.
So, but people can come down and volunteer or keep on a beautiful day, or, we had a volunteer from the college today that are trying to finish our fire hydrant project. So they're gonna reach out, we've got about 30, 40 left out of 400 or 500. So hopefully we can get that done this spring,
Then we can start over.
and we can start the next project.
Like so many things,
Exactly.
it's just a process. All right, you have more, or?
Just thank everybody for that volunteered last year. We had a good group that did the fire hydrants, and it was a good group. We had about 200 or 300 kids help, or people. All right.
Kids of all ages, okay.
Children of all ages.
Yes. Sure. Oh, I'm all set.
Just uptail there, and we have it, so everybody knows we have an intern from Alma College who's actually running our volunteer program. And if you call here for him, he's getting antsy to get things started now. He's done a really good job of setting up the parameters and things that we're trying to do. And so he started a Facebook page that you can get through from our city, Alma Volunteers page. And so we're gonna start to try and get, so you don't have to always come in here, we're trying to get some of that information available on there so people can get that. So that, you know, we are vetting the volunteers too, I mean, they have to go through a process and that. He's also reached out to a number of the groups that we have. He's really starting to hit that one up with the groups, especially for the bigger days. And he'd like to put some things together, just like park weekends, where we'll pick a park for a weekend. We'll go through the big cleanup during the beginning of the year, but then having something on a monthly basis that allows us to rotate through some of the parks and just continue to do some cleaning and helping. So we need it, and we'd like to have the help.
Absolutely. Sounds like great projects there. Fun things. And it is fun to participate in those things too. So, good. I'd just like to mention that, congratulate Alma College. It looks like they're going full bore on the Opera House project now, the new signage that went up. They put their fence up a week or so ago and now have the banners up along the fence that is very attractive, and it's really nice to see a full crew in there working, and we're really gonna see that thing completed before we know it here, so certainly kudos to Alma College for following through on that commitment that they made 10 years ago, so it's a big deal, and it really is a big deal. It's gonna really change a lot of things in town, so continue the momentum that's going downtown.
I'm just kind of afraid of the old picture of Superior Street and the Opera House that's right at the corner. I'm gonna rear end somebody looking at that picture. It's really a neat picture.
Might I suggest you walk?
It's really a neat picture to look at.
And for everybody else, when you see Roger coming.
It's, But it's blown up so big that there's detail in it that I've never been able to see in any of the smaller pictures of that. Names of stores and addresses and stuff, really cool.
I guess I hadn't looked at it in that much detail.
You pay attention.
I'd like to say that.
You caught at the light, yeah. When you caught at the light, you can go.
Okay, well, thank you, that's good to know. I'll take a walk down there and see if I
Really
can
neat.
pick something out. So with that, would any member of the public like to address the commission, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and share your thoughts. Anyone? Okay, hearing none. I'm gonna entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion and support, all those in favor? Opposed, same sign, we are adjourned, thank you very much, have a great evening, enjoy the sunshine. All that way? I know, it's so far.
I know.